Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this topic. This is something that, for me, is the most important. If you want to pay off debt, this will be the most important video you need to watch or to listen to in order to start your debt payoff journey, because this is where everything changed for me. All right, so let me just make sure you can hear me. I'm checking here. Yeah, awesome. Okay, good. We are good to go. You can hear me. Awesome. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be talking about the three big mindset shifts you need, and these are the three big mindset shifts I took in order to pay off $25,000 of credit card debt. And I am almost at my 1 year anniversary of being credit card debt free. It is like August 17th or August 16th, I believe, that I went completely credit card debt free. So we are approaching that 1 year mark. So I am almost to 1 year of being credit card debt free. I will definitely get there. I don't see any reason for me to build credit card debt in the next couple days. And I have all those financial management things in place so I don't build credit card debt. Now, that's for another video. Today we're talking about the mindset part. Like, what's the way I need to think in order to start paying off my debt? Because if you've been trying to pay off debt, because I have been in debt for, I think it was 16 years I totaled, like 16 years. I think I got into credit card debt when I started when I was 18. And now I'm like 36. So I was in credit card debt. Oh, sorry, subtract 1 year because I got out of debt when I was 35. Anyways, a long time. I've been in credit card debt a long time, since I was 18 years old. And I constantly was trying to look at different ways and different things I could do in order to be credit card debt free. So I tried things like really restrictive spending. I tried, I need to make more money. I need to have a bigger launch. When I sign the next client. And sometimes I would make progress with those things, and then they would just backfire, and then I would get into more credit card debt. Like the time I paid off almost $10,000 of credit card debt after I had a big month in my business. And then I got into even more credit card debt after that month. So I have tried all of those ways, and never any of them ever seemed to work for me. And I was never looking at what I was thinking about money and wealth in order to change my financial journey. I was constantly looking at the things I was doing with my money. Now that's a super important piece and something that I harp and talk about all the time. And you guys know I love You Need a Budget, and I talk about that all the time. But in order for me to actually start using You Need a Budget to pay off debt, there was all these different ways I needed to start thinking about money. So I'm going to be talking about those three big thoughts and those three big mindset shifts that I had that started to allow me to actually start putting those pieces into place that helped me to pay off debt. Now, you might be thinking that this doesn't matter. You don't need to start paying off debt. You don't need these three big mindset shifts. You just need the bigger launch, the bigger money, or whatever. And I'm going to tell you that path may work for you. It's worked for some people, right? They've made a whole bunch of money in their business and never had to go this route. But for most of us, we're going to need that like small step-by-step paying off debt type of journey where we paid off debt slowly. We paid off, one thing at a time, $1 at a time, and that's probably where most of us are going to end up. So if you are here today, I'm going to start talking about those three things. Let's get into the first mindset shift that I took in order to become debt free. A lot of these were what I call light bulb moments. Like I would be reading a book, or I would be reading about wealth, or I'd be reading about money or about finances, and all of a sudden it would be like, ding, oh, now I get it. Now I get how I become the person who pays off debt. Okay, so first mindset shift I took. Don't build income, build wealth. I know how easy it can feel to say, if I just make more money, I'll be able to pay off debt. And I think a lot of us want this one-time big magical solution, which I said before. Some people will have that, where their businesses will take off and they'll pay off debt. But the only thing I'll tell you about that part is that you still don't learn how to manage your money. You still could have tons of money come in, you could pay off your debt, and you have too much money going out. I've seen plenty of successful people who've made $1 million in their business maybe only profit $10,000, maybe only profit $100,000. I've seen plenty of people who have made $30,000 cash months consistently in their business still carry over $50,000 of credit card debt because they don't know how to manage their money. So the idea that making more money is going to be the solution to your problems is most likely 90% of the time not going to be the solution to your problems. Really, the solution to your problems is the way you are thinking about your money and the way you are thinking about the solution. So if you're thinking about the solution as I make more money and I will pay off debt, that's like saying, if I win the lottery, all of my money solutions will be solved and all of my problems in life will be solved. And how many of us know this is not true? Because if this was true, there wouldn't be lottery winners that commit suicide. There wouldn't be lottery winners that lose all their money. There wouldn't be lottery winners that go through all of these tumultuous family relationship issues, right? So the idea that you keep on your focus that it's going to be, oh, I need to become debt free, or in order to become debt free, what I need to do is have this big one solution. It's not the way it works. Going debt free, becoming in control of your money, finally feeling like you have some type of understanding of your finances comes from just all of these like micro solutions just throughout it. It's like micro decisions and micro solutions, and that's how you get to that place. So it's not just this one big launch, one big client, and that will solve all my issues. And I started to realize this start of these ideas started to come into my head when I was reading The Millionaire Next Door. And he really put wealth into perspective for me, because the whole time I was thinking about income as a solution to my problems, when really it was wealth, and building wealth is the solution to my problems. And building wealth isn't about having one big launch or signing one big client. It's those micro solutions and micro decisions over and over and over again. And he doesn't put a solution on making more money as not the answer to your problems. It is about really taking control of your money and understanding what your money is doing. So a lot of times when we also put that emphasis on this one thing that I will make happen in the future will be the solution to my problems, what we're really saying is future us is going to be the person that's going to solve my problems, right? Future you is the one who has the bigger launches. Future you is the one who signs the bigger client. Future you is the one who's going to make more of the money. And this is actually like a big psychological phenomenon where you think future you is going to be like a superhero. It's like, oh, future you will start the diet. Future you will start the business. Future you will ask for more money or get more money, right? So this is a real psychological phenomenon that happens where we think future us is the person who is this superhero. They have things that we don't have. They can do things we can't do right now. When you take future you off the pedestal and think current you is the superhero. Sorry guys, let me take a sip of my water. Okay, so when we take future you off the pedestal and realize that current you is the superhero, that's when we can actually become the person we need to be, because we understand, oh, me right now is the person who needs to solve my problems, not future me. Future me is not that different than present me. Present me is just as powerful as future me. Present me is just as smart. Present me is just as creative. Present me can be just as wealthy. Present me can make those decisions that I need to make right now. So future you and having one big windfall of money, one big solution to your problems is not the answer to paying off debt, okay? It's those micro solutions, those micro decisions, which all result in your money habits that you build right now are going to be the things that actually help you to start paying off your debt right now. Because future you is the same as present you. They might just be a little bit older, have a little bit more wrinkles. Maybe they're a little bit smarter, but not really, all right? Okay, so don't build income, build wealth, and realize that you right now is the only superhero you need. Okay, that was the first big mindset shift I took. The second mindset shift that I took was that I started to realize when I gave, now this is a part of the You Need a Budget principles and philosophies, and this is the software that I talk about that I use all the time to manage my money. It is about giving every single dollar a job. And that's one of the philosophies that the YNAB software follows, that you have to kind of follow that philosophy in order to use YNAB to its fullest. So when you give every dollar a job in your budget, all of a sudden it becomes very clear to you on what you want to spend your money on. Everything becomes very clear. Your priorities become very clear when you decide that. Where you're going to put every single dollar starts to become very clear. Now, I know saying that, so everyone's already like, I don't want to give every single dollar a job. I want to have some money where I just spend when I want to spend. That's actually a category you can create in your budget too, which I have, which is called fun money. Or another category you can create called things you forgot to budget for. So it's very possible for you to be loose and free with your money. But when you start to assign every dollar a job, all of a sudden you start to realize, hey, maybe I don't have enough dollars right now to put in this bucket, or to put in the coffee budget, or to put in the new photo shoot budget. So now I actually have to get really clear on what's important to me. And I think so many of us haven't really established what is really important for you to spend your money on. But when you start to give every dollar that comes into your business and your life a job, all of a sudden everything becomes very clear. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to spend my money here. I want to spend my money there. For me, one thing that became very clear when I started giving every dollar a job was that manicures didn't really matter to me anymore. I used to get manicures all the time, and I liked the way they look. But you know what? I would rather put that money to debt. It just really didn't matter, especially now that I have young kids. It didn't matter that I got my nails done. Other things started to become more clear. Like, I do like to spend money on coffee. That is a priority to me. But maybe spending some money on like this, random $47 ebook, or this thing over here, this random thing on Amazon I want to buy, not really a priority. Not really something I want to spend my money on. And that's because I was having every dollar get a job and realizing, oh, wait, I get to decide what's important to me. Now, this might be easy for you. Like, think about it right now, right? If you start to think about where your money went last month. So this is July 27th right now as I'm recording this. And you can think about, where did all of your money in June go? And did it go to things that were important to you? Because if you're saying, for example, that like you're watching this video, you're listening to this audio, and you're saying you want to pay off debt, but then all of your money for June went to like business coaching or business building things, or your money for June, say, went to like putting in, I don't know, saving for a new home, or doing home improvements or whatever, then your money's just very clearly telling you, hey, paying off debt right now isn't important. It seems as if building your business is important, or focusing on your home or a new home is more important to you. And the thing is, there's no shame about that, absolutely whatsoever. It doesn't mean this is wrong. And like, this is where a lot of the debt, like mindset and financial guru stuff starts to come in. As everyone starts to take all of these other different philosophies from other people and starts to make them their own. And then when it doesn't fit with your life, or when you're not following those philosophies, then you shame yourself for not following them or not doing them. Like, oh, but I carry debt and I should feel really bad about that. But instead, what's really important to me right now is building my business. That's okay. That's the thing. Money is personal. So when you start to understand that your money is just reflecting back to you your priorities, and then you start to say, there's no shame about this. There's no shame that I want to build my business. There's no shame that I put my money into my home. That's when you can let go of all that shame that you have around what you're doing with your money. But if you are in the place when you do say debt payoff is important to me, but for some reason last month in June, my money went here and it went there, and it kind of went to these places that aren't important to me, that's when you get to decide, okay, now I want to make debt payoff a priority, so I'm going to make sure this is the number one thing I put my money towards, instead of going to all these other random places that just don't give me a lot of return, or I'm just really not utilizing. Like, I'm going to be done with those things. And then there's no shame in that either, right? Like, this is all about just getting, your money can tell you a story. It can reflect back to you where you are in your life, what's a priority, what's not, what are things that are important, what's not. Like, it's just reflecting back to you the story that you're telling yourself about what are priorities right now in your life. So take a second to think about that and look at your money and say, hey, for the month of June, like, where did my money go? And do I like where it went? Do I not like where it went? What am I saying right now with my money is very important to me right now? Okay. And what do I want it to say? So that was another big shift I had to make. Again, getting rid of manicures, getting rid of certain other things in my life. They just weren't important. They just weren't important anymore. And I had to make myself not feel bad about it. And I just had to make myself be like making sure my money was telling the story that I want to pay off debt. Okay. Last mindset shift that I took to pay off $25,000 of debt and still maintain being debt free almost a year later was I had to open up my money funnels. So I gave this a really fun term. You don't have to use the term money funnels. You can use the term money portals, money avenues, whatever, right? Basically, it's saying I had to open up for all of the different ways for money to come to me. So as I was paying off my debt, I was really like, before I was paying off my debt, I would say I was really focused on money could only come through my business. And that was the only way I could pay off my debt was if money came through my business. And I started to realize that that's not the only avenue and way for money to come to me. Like there's so many different ways, right? And when we open up those ways and start to understand that, there are all these other ways. Like you could sell stuff around your house. You could open up a new business. You could sell your car. You could so I'm going to give you an example of one way that I saw a client open up her money funnels and was able to pay off her debt in a completely different way. And so when this client came to me, she really was, they were in a little bit of a tough financial situation. She had maxed out credit cards. They were really, her and her husband were really worried about paying bills. They had all of these just really big financial stressors that I think a lot of us can relate to. And so this client came to me at the time and, a real big focus for us was, getting her to have a successful launch, getting her to sign a client. And this was pre-financial coaching days. This was more like business coaching Shannon days. And we kept focusing on that until one day when she really sat down with me and she was just upset about, her financial situation. And I said, okay, let's just put this business stuff aside. And let's just see all the different ways you could actually pay off your debt. You could get in control of your finances. Let's really sit down and brainstorm. And I said, just forget it. Forget your business didn't exist. What is a way you could actually pay this off? What is one way you could without us having to put all the pressure on future you, right? To sign the client, have the big launch. And so she said to me, I've been thinking about selling our home. I've been thinking about selling this house. I don't really like the location. We've been thinking about it for a while. We've been wanting to make a move. But it's a lot of work and it's this and I'll have to redo things and I just don't know. So she had been toying with it and I was like, let's go back. Why don't you go back, talk with your husband about this and do some research. How much money could you get for your house? What would you need to fix? How much would that cost? And what could be, where could you move? And what could it look like if you sold your house? What would your financial situation look like then? And so my client went back, talked with her husband. My client ended up selling her home. They found a new place in another state that they loved. They paid off all their debt. They got a new home. And this home they were able to live off the profit of selling their home for a while. This house was a lot less money than the house they were currently living in. And they were able to fix all of their money issues by just realizing there was all these other ways that money could come to them. That it didn't have to be I could only make money through my business. I could only make money through my business. I can only make money by having the bigger launch, by signing the bigger client. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with putting in the effort for that. But thinking, this is the only way I can do it. I can only do it through this way. I can only do it through this thing, right? That's where the issues really start to come in, is because it's okay, well now we've shut off all the other ways and we're putting a lot of pressure on future you in order to solve these financial problems. But what if the solutions are just kind of sometimes sitting there right in front of our face? And I had to really open myself up to see all these different ways I could create money for my debt payoff journey. I had to think about, okay, here's one way. One avenue was my business, right? And I also knew I couldn't put a lot of time and effort into my business because I had just had my daughter. I was in postpartum period and then I got pregnant with my son just a couple months later. So it really wasn't this big avenue for me. So I had to think about all of these different ways I could actually create money. And I could actually bring in like different types of money through, like whatever, like so many different ways. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And I'll do this and I'll do this thing and I'll bring in some extra money here and I'll bring in some extra money here. And I've heard other people talk about this too, in a sense of like they're entrepreneurs and then they get a job or they get a part-time job or they do contract work or they do done for you work. And they think like, oh no, like, am I failing at this entrepreneurship thing? And in order to take care of my finances, I'm like, no way are you failing at this. If you open up a money funnel to say, I gotta find another way to bring in some income because I wanna take care of my debt and it's a priority to me. Like, no way are you failing at all by taking care of your finances. If you're getting your business into a better financial place, that in no way could be failing. Failing would be like constantly getting into debt, not being able to get out of debt, and stressing yourself out about it, knowing you want to pay it off, but not allowing yourself to find other ways and resources to pay off your debt. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video, this audio today. It was about the 3 big mindset shifts that I had in order to pay off debt. And if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next live. All right, guys, see you soon. Bye.